gummy bear.
Hey everybody, welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from giantbomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about one of the biggest ongoing video game debacles of the year and a huge new remake from a beloved horror series. It's going to be a good one because we have Jan Ochoa on the show. Jan, how are you doing?
I think I'm okay. I know I sound terrible, but that's because instead of resting, I decided to go eat a bunch of stuffed olives last night.
Well, that's the cure to what ails you. I think that's it.
Grubb, yo, I don't mean to freak anyone out here, but anchovy stuffed olives, whew.
That's they hit the spot. It was good. It sounds like little salty treasures. Sounds like little salty explosions.
Think about what was it called? Gosh, my vocabulary is normally not here anyway, but it's now just thrown out the window. Savory boba.
Ooh,
is what that is.
Savory boba. Oh my god. Yeah, hell yeah. I'm down. Yeah, I'm definitely like up and down over here as well. Like waking up, my throat feels a little bit throaty, a little bit extra throaty.
Yeah,
it
feels
not
like
great.
Feels like you got cruised over the course of like 3-4 days, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I thought I'd be recovering more, and it's like, and I'm starting to feel some stuff more. So, looking forward to the weekend. Maybe going to take it easy. Although there's definitely some other stuff I got to take care of. But yeah, I want to just kind of get some rest after a long, uninterrupted several days of nonstop work. But yeah, you playing anything right now, or not? No time for that. You just kind of recovering.
No time to play anything just yet, unfortunately, Grubb. But I know I've talked about this, trying to do one of these in the past with something, but I don't know how I would format it or how we would necessarily do it. But I would really like to do a quick look on the DJI Osmo Pocket 3.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
Hands down, Grubb. You know me and Bacala are like little camera perverts. And I had like the 360 cam that we've used in a couple videos now. I shoot on like the FX30.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, and that's great. I have a long-standing hate for GoPros.
Right.
But I think this might be my favorite camera.
Yeah, you were very excited about that thing every time, and like we would start to record stuff. You're like, no, use this, and I was like, yeah, I'm like the quality's there, right? It just seems like such a thing where it's like, well, that does it in a pinch, but that's not how you feel about the Pocket, right?
No, I mean it shoots 4K 60. The Ben Starr interview that is now out on socials.
I should go check that out.
That was shot in 4K 60, and I was able to crop in on Ben, crop in on Dan. Tons of room to play with. It shoots. Don't mean to startle anyone. Shoots in log as well.
Oh shoot! All right. Yeah, throw that stuff in DaVinci Resolve. Do some color correction.
Yeah, the major bummer though is that this thing has skyrocketed in price because of current events in the world.
Yeah,
and
everything.
It was much more affordable the beginning of this year around like 400, 500, but now it's like upwards to like 700 and 900, which is pretty insane.
Yeah, oof a doof.
The
DJI Osmo Pocket that's the right name?
Pocket 3, and I know that as soon as I bought it, I'm like, these fuckers are gonna announce a 4 soon.
Yep.
And this all, folks, it's not sponsored. This is me trying to get on their good side so they send me shit in the future.
Yeah, DJI. I got their one of their gimbals for the phone, and I like that thing a lot, but actually using my phone as a camera is a little bit of a hassle. So I'm like, I was looking at that thing being like, why didn't I just get a Pocket? Maybe because of the price. All right. Well, hey, DJI, hit up your boys. We're right here. We're waiting.
Send Grubb a drone.
Yeah, send me. Oh God, I want to. Look at me. I'm a dad. Send me a drone. All right. Before we get into things, let's explain ourselves. You can go to giantbomb.com/join. If you do that, it gets you ad-free versions of our show. You know what else it does? If you go to giantbomb.com/chat after going to join, you can watch our shows live without ads because we get the Twitch feed without ads. So if you want to have a live version without ads, you just go to giantbomb.com/chat. If you do that and you're not signed up, it'll point you to where to go sign up and get all the benefits there. We're also going to do some extra goodies. I am I'm beginning the preliminary investigation into maybe finding a way to bring back Grub Snacks as a some sort of a premium show. At the very least, like the kind of thing where it's like if you want to interact with the show the way we used to, then maybe you have to be a premium member, and then we could put it out for everybody.
You
I don't
know,
know. Like I said, I'm experimenting. Definitely think that would be a lot of fun. But hey, if you want to help make that happen, make it make sense, giantbomb.com/join. Help us out. Every little bit helps, and we really appreciate it. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with MindsEye launch surprises gamers by being even worse than expected. This is from Alex Coe at DualShockers. While MindsEye is already out on consoles and PC, the fact that there are literally 0 press reviews out ahead of release is a warning sign that something's not right with the action game, developed by former Grand Theft Auto boss Leslie Benzies. I need the Benz. As it turns out, the game's launch is a bigger debacle than expected. Gamers across social media have shared clips less than flattering clips of MindsEye bugging out, with one user claiming that people should avoid the game at all costs, and that's in all caps. They go on to say, the game is locked at 30 frames per second across all consoles and suffers from constant stutter issues, even being locked at 30 frames per second. It has messy performance on PC. We saw that yesterday with the 5080. This machine is pretty beefy. It was the game was running okay on my side, but it was causing a ton of issues for OBS, and apparently that's pretty common. We were not the only ones to experience that, Jen. Very buggy across the board, according to this user. Crash issues for many people on both PC and consoles. They were playing it over at MinMax. Leo Vader was playing. They rated us because the game crashed and it broke Leo. So they sent everyone our way. They did not send out any review copies. And only praise seems to be coming from sponsored creators, Terrifying Facebugs and Ragdolls. We saw some of that as well.
Yeah.
We turned our boy Seb into spaghetti several times, 5 times, I think. Definitely go check out the end of that video if you want to see some wild stuff. I talked to Chris Person, who's going to put that into the latest highlight reel. So look out for that as well.
Great.
Yeah, you were seeing some of this. I played it. Listen, it plays like a video game, but I'm definitely getting the sense that there's not a lot to it. Even beyond what we played, like the possibility space is just nothing, and then it does feel like glued together in a really precarious way.
Grubb, when you revisit a game, maybe not a game from like the PS2 era, but maybe something from 360, PS3, and you're pleasantly surprised by like how fully fleshed out it is, and it kind of exceeds your memory of the game. I felt that way with Alpha Protocol, actually. And then you come across a modern game that looks like a bunch of money was thrown into it, and it is wild how it got to this point. I think the last time I felt that way was with the last Saints Row game, and I know the last Saints Row game just it performed fine. It just but this is a buggy mess that isn't quite as catastrophic, it feels like, as Cyberpunk, but maybe because expectations were so low for MindsEye.
Right. I think everyone kind of got the sense pretty clearly from the way that they have been promoting this game or lack thereof, or the reaching out to say who wants a review code and then never responding to that. That gave us a sign that something was on there, and then I think a lot of people in the public were catching on as well. And then just the idea of like looking at this game and being like, well, are you going to try to be a Grand Theft Auto game? And now they're saying, well, we made a city, but it's not really an open world game. And I'm wondering, like, I played a little bit more than an hour of the game. And so I'm like, am I still in the introduction phase? And then we'll go over to that city and it will open up. And I'm getting the sense that maybe it doesn't. Now, I don't know, but it does do the thing where if you're on a mission and you veer too far away from where the game wants you to be, it just shuts everything down. Game over. You abandon the mission. And if they're saying it's not an open world game, I'm getting the sense that maybe it does that for every mission, and there is no like free roam and explore because
Yeah.
maybe the game doesn't can't function if you try to explore it in that way, which would be very weird. Yeah, okay, yeah, the free roam only unlocks after completing the story, and there's almost zero side activities, just racing. Okay, so it's like they'll put you in there once you've done everything, and then they kind of have a very limited number of things that's actually you can actually perform. Okay, yeah, so I kind of see how this happens these days where, a guy who worked on Grand Theft Auto does get a lot of money, a lot of investment, tries to recreate that or replicate that experience for others, and really kind of can't pull it off because they don't have the institutional backing of a
Sure.
studio that has done that over and over and over and over
Yes.
again.
Yes.
Excuse me, and also has basically unlimited money in Rockstar. They probably had a lot of money at Build a Rocket Boy, the studio that made this under Leslie Benzies. They certainly didn't seem like they had unlimited money, especially with the idea of, hey, it felt like they were pushing this game out to get out ahead of Grand Theft Auto 6. Then Grand Theft Auto 6 gets delayed, and then they didn't delay this game.
Yeah.
So that to me says, Jan, they needed to get this thing out because they needed to recoup, some money.
Yeah, 100% Grub. And I would assume with all the experience behind MindsEye that there'd be an understanding of scale, right? And if you cannot go full on GTA 5, GTA 6 scale, then let's just, rein it in a bit, and whatever we can do, make it more palatable. Because even that hour section you played, Grub, and I mean, we talk a lot about like the first couple hours in a game being very impressionable. And
Oh, yeah.
if that first hour you were kind of just slogging through cutscenes and slogging through robots, and they're not letting you run over more than 5 civilians.
What's the point?
Well, how dare they? This isn't Assassin's Creed.
Uh-huh.
If the carrot on the stick is like, all right, you just got to get to like hour 3, but that opening first 2 hours is plain as hell, dull as heck. I can't imagine wanting to get further in. I did like seeing the conspiracy theory, Grub, that the first 2 hours are so slow, so it gets you past the refund period on Steam.
Yes, I definitely think there's something to that. Although it might not be helping. PS5 players say they're getting MindsEye refunds. This is from Evan Campbell at GameSpot. MindsEye seems to be off to a rocky start, and we're not talking about the game's setting of Red Rock. Boo. For some players, including on PS5, they're unhappy enough with the action-adventure game's performance to ask for refunds. Apparently, Sony is granting these requests, at least so far. Spotted by The Gamer, a Reddit post by a PS5 owner claims that MindsEye players are on that platform are guaranteed a refund if they want one, because PlayStation support said it was aware of the game's optimization issues and are investigating the situation. Additionally, a person going by Wolfgang on Twitter shared that what appeared to be a PS5 refund message from Sony. It states that usually we are not allowed to process refunds for games that were downloaded because of the PlayStation Store cancellation policy. But since the player was supposedly having issues with MindsEye, it was granted. As such, the MindsEye situation has people calling back to the late 2020 release of Cyberpunk 2077, which is the last time I think this really became a big thing where, hey, Sony's letting people get refunds on the PlayStation. Yeah. They don't ever do that. So real bad sign, I think, for this game, right?
Yeah. I remember when Cyberpunk was, you could get a refund for that on PS5. That broke mainstream news because of how big it was. I don't see MindsEye capitalizing the same way, but it is a big deal if you can get a refund on a digital console game, because that just doesn't happen very often, specifically on PlayStation. Am I imagining Microsoft offering refunds for Redfall, Grub?
I don't recall. I don't remember.
I just think about Redfall a lot, but that's my personal problem.
It would be a little bit weirder there because probably so many people played that on Game Pass, right? So there would probably be less overall demand for refunds for Redfall at that time.
Do you see MindsEye potentially getting delisted?
Right. So that is what happened to Cyberpunk, especially on PlayStation. PlayStation didn't want to give all those refunds. They didn't want to continue giving refunds. So they gave the refunds, and then they're like, "Hey, come back when this game is actually done." And it was off PlayStation for 6 months.
Oh
Which I
boy.
mean, God, I don't think that we don't talk about that enough. That's such an insane thing, like such a huge problem for a game to not be on the biggest console platform for half of a year after
Yeah.
it came out. Um, now that game could weather it because it did make so much money on day one, just from the pent up hype and demand that they could see it through. If that happens to this game, I just think that's it for Build a Rocket Boy, right? Like that's just
Yeah.
wrap up the shop there.
Yeah, I can't see the bounce back happening again with a game getting delisted on a major console. I think it's lucky enough that Cyberpunk was able to do it, and before then, like No Man's Sky, um, where they're still making content to this day. Grub, I saw a trailer for a new patch maybe a week or two ago. Insane, but Build a Rocket Boy, I think this is going to be a very, very steep hill to climb.
Yep, and then to what end? Because the underlying game does seem uninspired at best. Um, and who knows like what leads to that? I get the idea, the sense that the reason the missions are so boring and so rote is because they kind of can't do much with this game, or it will fall apart. Like when it's this buggy, you kind of can only risk so much, or try so many things, or have so many things interacting with one another before now you're like, okay, the complexities here are so deep that we actually can't even find what is causing this mission to break. So let's just scale it back, scale it back, scale it back.
Right.
And then now you have something that doesn't even feel worth saving.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077, for all its faults at launch, and for being a game that I thought was pretty like just okay, a fine game at best, 3 out of 5 stars. It clearly was still worth rescuing,
Yeah.
and time has proven that. I just don't think the same thing will happen with MindsEye.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of other things happening for Cyberpunk that made it very appealing for people. The world, the story behind it, and everything. I don't see people being caught up in the story and world of MindsEye. I don't see there being a hit, runaway, breakout Netflix anime from the MindsEye IP anytime soon. And the thing
No.
that's like kind of a bummer, Grub, I don't know the exact size of Build a Rocket Boy, but it's Claire Obscure is one of the wildest examples from this
Yeah.
year of like
It's going
a,
to be a
re-
rough comparison.
a relatively smaller team able to put out like an amazing game. And for me, I think it's easily front runner for my own personal game of the year so far. But again, a smaller team with knowing how to work within their means.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. And then I do kind of glance over at IO Interactive, and this is the first big game they published as part of their partnership thing, and probably a lot of lessons learned there. Probably a lot of like, okay, listen, we don't go the route of working with the famous name. Maybe we got to work backward with finding the game first.
I love
I don't know.
IO too, which is
Yeah, me too.
insane. Yeah.
It seems like it's just a rough position to be in. And then they have a lot of other stuff going on. Clearly, and James Bond and Hitman constantly getting new stuff, and including James Bond stuff in Hitman. So I'm going to continue to be like a fan of their games, but I do wonder like what this means for the future of their publishing business, and how that affects them and what changes there. All right, let's move over in this other direction. Silent Hill remake by Bloober Team announced. That's not Silent Hill 2. This is a new one. Silent Hill 1 is being remade by Bloober. This is from Sal Romano at Gamatsu. A remake of the original Silent Hill is currently in development at Silent Hill 2 remake developer Bloober Team, Konami announced. A partnership between Konami and Bloober Team to develop a new game based on a Konami intellectual property was first announced in February, and I think a lot of us assumed it would probably be this. And now here it is. During today's Konami's press start broadcast, Konami confirmed the title will be Silent Hill 1. There's a little bit of a teaser. Not much more to it than that. But yeah, this makes just 1,000,000% sense, because it's Silent Hill 2 was so well received. It also was like the moment that people are like, you know what, that Bloober Team feels like they are figuring it out. And if you're them, you're like, why not take that ball and run with it? If you're Konami, Clearly, you want to have more of that happening because that's working really well for Capcom. And Konami is a very successful, very lucrative business. They are. But they haven't had quite the growth in gaming that Capcom's had over the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And this could put them well on the way to that happening. In fact, they had that Metal Gear collection and Silent Hill 2 remake did have them like have one of their biggest growth years ever.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, this all makes a ton of sense. And I'm looking forward to it. How about you?
Me too, Grubb. When Jess and I did Run for the Hills, we obviously started with 1. And
Right.
I think it is since held a special place in my heart. Shouts out to Harry Vacation, the protagonist of this game. That's what his name is. And I will hear nothing else.
I believe it. Yeah, Wienerless Steve and Harry Vacation.
Exactly. And I still hold on to that. I vastly enjoyed my time in Silent Hill 1 more. And I don't know. I got to give it up to Bloober Team for having like this redemption where so many people were clowning on them when it was announced that they were attached to the Silent Hill 2 remake. And I'm so happy for that team that they were able to knock it out of the park. Silent Hill 2 remake last year, a very haunting remake of the original game, and also very incredibly faithful to the original game as well. I know Mike really enjoyed it. Backlar really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. So I'm very excited to see what that team will continue to do with 1, and I hope 1 is also another success for them that they can at least continue to 3.
Yep. I think that is seems to be a likely scenario here. And then what can Bloober do after that? It's like there's a lot of possibility for them to continue working with Konami. I think, especially if the quality of the 1 remake matches what they did with 2, people will be very into what they're going to do next.
Also,
go ahead, please.
Still to this day, one of my favorite things about the Silent Hill 2 remake is just how you could just keep swinging away with James, even if there's nothing there, and then he just sounds angrier and more exasperated each time.
That's good.
And that's great.
This Konami Press Start event had some other stuff in it. There was like a Suikoden free-to-play game for mobile, I think. Yeah, exactly. Jan's shrugging for audio listeners, and that's exactly the response. What do we do with this?
Sure.
I don't know. I'm going to do nothing with it personally, Jan.
Oh, yeah, you know what? I'll do nothing as well.
Then they showed off some of their other stuff that's either coming up or has recently released, like Deliver at All Costs, things that they've been working on with partners, which, hey, Konami, cool. I think that's a neat thing that they are publishing games that I think look neat or have played and consider to be neat. And then they had a little bit more information about Metal Gear Solid Delta and its multiplayer aspect. Snake Eater's Fox Hunt brings back online multiplayer, although it's not like Metal Gear Online that you've known from before. This is from Blair Marnell at GameSpot. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater recently debuted a new trailer that teased the return of Metal Gear Online. During today's Konami Direct showcase, the new online multiplayer mode was officially announced as Fox Hunt. However, it won't simply be a rehash of MGO. During Konami's presentation, Fox Hunt director Yu Sahara described it as camouflage and hide-and-go-seek to the next level, before adding that players will have the choice of remaining hidden with their advanced camo or attempting to find their own hidden foes. He added that it shares the same world as Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, but the gameplay will be completely different. Metal Gear Online was originally released in 2008 alongside Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots. While Sahara acknowledged the similarities between Fox Hunt and MGO, he added that the former will be its own type of mode because the online landscape has drastically changed since MGO in Metal Gear Solid 4 and Metal Gear Solid 5. Sahara promised that more information about Fox Hunt will be released soon. In the meantime, Konami showed off Snake Eater's Ape Escape crossover, Snake vs. Monkey, which will be available on PS5 and PC. Xbox Series X and S is getting a Snake vs. Bomberman mode instead. That sounds fantastic too. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater will be released on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on August 28th. Did I say Fox Hunt?
No, not at all.
Cool. Hey, yeah, sure. I'm always like very curious about like Konami and like what they're thinking with Metal Gear. I know that they have a planned stream or event, Jan, where they're going to sit down with the people who are currently in charge of Metal Gear and tell us what the future holds. I think that likely will contain, Volume 2 of the Metal Gear collection. but it could have hints of what is even beyond Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. But them having a team there being like, and hey, we're gonna try to make a new multiplayer mode to go alongside this release. It does feel like they're all in on Metal Gear, and I'm for that personally. I like. I don't think the franchise should necessarily go away because Kojima is no longer there.
No, not at all. I think there is enough existing talent there, and like the blueprint and documents are probably laid out somewhere on a USB drive at Konami HQ. So there's enough talented people there to continue that legacy. When did Konami become competent, Grubb?
Yeah, I don't. It's like I feel like they just flipped a switch and decided to become competent.
Yeah.
I emailed them for something the other day, and they responded faster than like I actually sent out a bunch of PR emails, and they responded before anyone else. And people won't know this, but that's weird. Konami used to never respond, mostly because they scrambled their email addresses and stuff like that, and they would be different every week and shit like that because they didn't want people talking to it was weird. So it's like it just feels like they woke up one day, decided to get serious, and now here we are with them, overseeing a bunch of cool projects from partners and making some cool games and trying something like Fox Hunt that is going to probably just be an expanded idea on Prop Hunt, I would imagine. But hey, I think that makes a ton of sense for a Metal Gear game.
Yeah, I mean, Metal Gear, for as much political intrigue and overextended cutscenes as there is a lot of space to be goofy in that IP. So I'm all here for Fox Hunt.
Yep, that's right. They probably will show more of this at that Metal Gear event as well. And then we'll get a better idea of exactly what it is. But the way they describe it does make it sound like Prop Hunt, which I like that kind of mode. That seems neat. And I bet Dan, who has not seemed curious about one of those modes or does not seem to care about it, will now care.
Yes,
it's Metal Gear.
He'll discover the subgenre of games that has been blowing up on YouTube 10 years ago.
Yep. All right, Jan, let's take a quick break. Let's get on the other side. There's a new FIFA game, not an EA soccer game, a new FIFA game, and it has Web3. We'll talk about it right after this, which if you want to avoid in the future, go to giantbomb.com/join. This episode of Giant Bomb is brought to you by giantbomb.com/join. Join us there, become a member. It helps us make fun stuff. It gets you ad-free content. It also helps us make some extras here and there that we'll give exclusively to you as members. It's giantbomb.com/join for $10 a month or $100 a year where you save $20. You can support us in making all the cool stuff that we make over here at Giant Bomb. Once again, that's giantbomb.com/join. Become a member now. Game Mass Mornings. I'm Jeff Grubb. That's Jan Ochoa. We're going to get back into the show. I'll tell you, every time I bumped into Seb in MindsEye, he did spaghettiify in so many different and new and exciting ways. And I got to say, like that, to me, that shows that there is a possibility space in that game, that there is something worth exploring there.
There's a possibility for anyone to become any type of pasta dish. I think the last time you ran him over, he was less spaghetti and more lasagna.
Yes, right. He became like a ravioli noodle almost. Yeah, It was quite impressive. Again, people should go check that out. That's our MindsEye game. Giant Bomb plays MindsEye, I suppose, is what we called it.
I'll clip out for socials that spaghetti section.
Yeah, that's fun. You maybe even do like a quick supercut of each time he spaghettifies, and then it kind of culminates in the great triangle that Seb became. And then I wish the game would just continue, but it's like you can only see so much of the spaghettification because, of course, it's a game over because you killed Seb. Seb's dead. All right. First post EA FIFA game is out now with a Web3 marketplace. This is where the air horns go. That's right. Yeah, we did it, everybody. USA.
We got him,
USA.
Joe.
This is from Eddie McCue at GameSpot. After EA and FIFA broke up, the soccer organization vowed to keep making games without the gaming publisher, and now the first post-EA FIFA game has arrived. The arcade-style mobile game FIFA Rivals from Mythical Games is available now on the App Store and Google Play for mobile devices. The game was previously available in a soft launch. FIFA Rivals combines high-energy arcade gameplay with team-building strategy elements, as players can take part in a PvP match and become a manager of sorts and build out their squad. Sounds like FIFA Ultimate Team, but now with Web3. The game also supports a super mode that adds boosts and abilities to help get an edge on the pitch. FIFA Rivals also incorporates the Mythical Marketplace, which is a blockchain-based marketplace that allows players to trade, buy, and sell their items. Mythical Games previously released NFL Rivals in 2024. Do I remember that? I feel like I kind of remember that. As for EA's soccer series, the publisher has rebranded the franchise as EA Sports FC. Everyone knows that by now. That's having its own problems. It's not making quite as much money as it once did, maybe because it doesn't have the FIFA name anymore. I don't think it's that simple, but maybe. I guess I don't really know. As far as this goes, feels like the kind of game that gets made if you are someone at FIFA who's like only ever watched CNBC and heard people talk about, hey, the Web3 and NFTs are the future and video games are going to have NFT marketplaces. That's a good idea. And you heard that 5 years ago and you have not heard anything about it since, but you kind of vaguely remembered it. So when someone came to pitch you one of those games, you're just like, yes, this is it. This is how we're going to beat EA.
Yeah, Grubb, admittedly, I don't know much about the sport of soccer or football other than it is the biggest sport in the world.
Right.
I think this sucks.
It's stupid.
It's so dumb. How do you have such an easy layup? I don't know what the equivalent of a layup is in soccer. I'm sorry. And you just fumble the bag like this. Like, FIFA has been proven to be like a cash cow purely because of the name, it seems, and losing the name has definitely hurt EA. So if you are adopting FIFA in a game, just make the game, damn it.
Yeah, so I guess like let's try to figure out how this would work, or how they claim it would work. It's probably going to be like FIFA Ultimate Team, but now you're going to be able to get cards, and with the marketplace, the idea is now you could sell those cards to other people, and because they're NFTs and the blockchain can track that. Sure, that's neat. And the reason that these companies really like that is because they get a cut every time you sell it. So anytime, if there's a healthy marketplace, they get a cut each time. But so do the players. The players can make money. Isn't that great? Really, though, I'm imagining 95% of players, I feel like that's even not generous enough, like probably like more than that, are there to play a soccer video game.
Yeah.
And they're there to engage with stuff. And even if they are people who enjoyed FIFA Ultimate Team, can I tell you one of the problems that FIFA Ultimate Team has had, Jan?
Please.
People hacking each other's accounts to steal their stuff. And you know what's bad about the blockchain is you can't call anyone to get that fixed. It's just never going to come back to you. So it is FIFA Ultimate Team without customer support, which is just an incredibly stupid thing to do because you're going to have a lot of people who are just there because they're soccer fans. They don't want to have to deal with all this nonsense. And when their shit gets stolen, they want to call somebody and get it reinstated. And they're not going to be able to do that because Web3 the blockchain specifically prevents that from being a solution. It's stupid. And it's not like fucking FIFA Ultimate Team isn't making all the money in the world. That's the craziest thing, Jan. You don't need the blockchain to make money. You can do this the old-fashioned way of just running a database that you control and make all the money in the world, just like all the Ultimate Team games have been doing for forever. So if you want to like take advantage of people and get them addicted to cards, Jan, then just do it and then actually run it like a regular company that is sane and kind of feels like they know what they're doing instead of just hearing a word on CNBC and making a game based on that.
Are like the Web3 AI bros unaware of, they're definitely unaware of human touch. But
for sure.
Are they unaware of physical products that are also having a gigantic resurgence where people are like, hey, here is this thing that I've assigned value to because it's shiny and it's a fat Pikachu. $500, please. And there are at least 1,000 people that are like, fat Pikachu, please. And handing over $500+. You could just do that. What about that?
Right. Yeah. And it's like that makes a lot more sense as well because it has some physical presence. And I think they're like, well, this is the benefit of the physical presence without while still having all the benefits of being digital. It's like, yeah, I don't know if anyone actually feels that way. And if they do, they feel that way regardless if it's on the blockchain or not. Like Steam trading cards or whatever aren't on the blockchain. People still feel that way about those things. And yet, if you have any issues with that, you can go to Steam support and get help. So this just feels like people applying a solution. Well, this is old news too. Like, it's honestly more shocking that in 2025, someone's still trying to do this after everyone else tried in 2022, 2023, maybe, and it didn't work, and everyone just gave up. And it's like, actually, there's easier ways of doing this. Why are we even trying?
Did something happen to the data scientists, Grubb?
Yeah, I don't know. They're rounded up. It sounds like, they're definitely not working on FIFA rivals. It doesn't feel like. I guess going back to like when EA and FIFA broke up, and FIFA being like, we're going to come back to the game space. I think a lot of people predicted exactly this game. Like, it would be exactly like this, and here we are. A big surprise. A company, an organization that sucks as much as FIFA, making the game that sucks as much as possible. Big surprise. But yeah, who knows how it even plays? Is it like up there with like a FIFA Street or a NBA Jam equivalent? I don't know. It doesn't seem like that's what matters here.
Based off of everything I was listening to as you read it, Grubb, I never got the sense that you played actual soccer.
Yeah, right. It just feels like you just send out your team or whatever.
Yeah, which I know that's appealing for some folks, but I think the majority want to play soccer. Let them play soccer.
Right. Exactly. They want they want kind of what EA Sports FC has been providing for quite some time. And EA Sports FC has a mobile game as well. That certainly doesn't seem to use NFTs. Not that EA is like some bastion of high-minded game design. But at the very least, they've been through the ringer and can deliver a product that people seem to be like somewhat okay with occasionally. All right, let's move on to the next story. Video game actor strike ends today. This is from Eddie McCoo at GameSpot. After reaching a tentative agreement with video game companies to end the 11-month video game actor strike, SAG-AFTRA has now officially confirmed that the strike ends today, June 11th, at 12 p.m. So it's yesterday. It's been over since yesterday, everybody. All SAG-AFTRA members are now cleared to go back to work, including promotional work. The union said it will convene a special meeting on June 12th to consider the tentative agreement. If approved, the agreement will then be sent for ratification by the union's members. This is also when the full terms of the agreement will be published. The video game companies released a statement regarding the strike coming to an end, with spokesperson Audrey Cooling saying that the companies are pleased to have reached a tentative contract agreement that reflects the importance of contributions by SAG-AFTRA represented performers in video games. The statement goes on, the agreement builds on 3 decades of successful partnership between the interactive entertainment industry and the union. It delivers historic wage increases of over 24% for performers, enhanced health and safety protections, and industry-leading AI provisions requiring transparency, consent, and compensation for the use of digital replicas in games. We look forward to continuing to work with performers to create new and engaging entertainment experiences for billions of players throughout the world. It does feel like they kind of were going to have to keep holding out until they could get something here. It does feel like this is something. There was likely zero chance they were going to be able to hold the tide of AI completely. So getting a world in which they can have some control over what consent looks like, what compensation looks like, it does feel like a pretty decent win for SAG-AFTRA and the people that actually are for voice performers and capture performers in video games. Do you expect this to change much? I guess we don't have a lot of the details, Jan, but it does feel like this is like somewhat of a sunny outcome.
Yeah, any win for a union, I'm all in favor for. SAG-AFTRA is specifically North America and America, or specifically the U.S., right?
I think it's primarily in the U.S., yeah.
Okay, because I just start to wonder if there are protections for voice actors in Europe or in Asia, or if like they just go by a
Europe will have like better labor laws in general, but
right.
Like who knows exactly what that means? I don't.
Yeah, and I would hate to see the studios shying away from hiring SAG-AFTRA actors just because of this whole situation, or if those relationships have dried up. Please go hire actors of all varieties.
Yep, exactly. Um, the strike was kind of just always happening there in the background. But there were still, a lot of performers from around the world that were appearing in games. So I think you're right that it probably was
Uh,
mostly North America.
we actually got a super chat here. SAG member here. I remain skeptical based on previous contracts, but let's hope.
Yeah, I think that is one thing I've heard before is the union. Its competency when it comes to delivering on these deals is just the track record is, excuse me, is not great. And I don't think this is suddenly going to mean like conditions are going to be wonderful for performers. They likely are still going to mostly have to fend for themselves. But if they can just have some baseline protections, I guess
Right.
we'll see. I do think though, Jan, in 5 years, it does feel like a lot of these companies are just going to be like defaulting to AI regardless of what happens here. And what do we do about that? I plan to mostly just kind of keep shouting about it when it sucks in a video game, and even beyond that, where it's like the human touch is clearly going to make a lot of these things just that much better, and I will continue to call that out. And whether these companies care about that, well, okay, maybe you don't care about it the first couple of times, but over time, the company that shows up and does like feel like they made something special because they worked with real people, they are going to begin to stand out, and these other companies are going to build up a reputation of just being content mills.
Yeah.
And once you have that reputation, it's going to be a hard thing to shed. But do they care about that, or do they care about short-term profits? Like we know the answer.
We all know it's the short term. Yeah, I mean, with the problem with AI, there's several problems, Grub. We don't need to get into all of them, but specifically with voice acting, you don't get someone like a Troy Baker or Ben Starr, right? You don't have a runaway public darling like
Right.
Ben Starr, and like Ben Starr cemented himself in like now the video game cultural canon, rightfully so because he's super duper talented, but also because like he is just game to do whatever. And then like AI, you are just forcing to do whatever, and there is no creative touch. There's no creative aspect to uh like AI voice performance, right? Other than loosely feeding it a bunch of different keywords in hopes that you get what you want. And also, I don't know, like every voice actor that we've had on this website, on the couches, have always seemed to be extremely personable people that also actually care about the projects that they're in.
Yep. I think that is a trail that has now been blazed by a few people. I think Ben Starr is currently the one like leading that a little bit of, hey, there is room for us as people who can love these games and be passionate about it and go out there and speak on the behalf of these games, so that when we finish the reading the lines on the page, our value does not disappear immediately. And
Yeah.
Ben Starr's shown how that works. It seems like a huge hustle. It seems like not like a negative hustle, but like it seems like a lot of hustling is required to get yourself in that position. Like you can never not be front and center. You always have to be reminding people, yeah, I'm in this game and I love this game and I care about it. And I care that you care about it. Let's talk about it. And I'm going to go on all these shows. And it seems like a lot of extra work, but it does seem like a little bit of what is necessary to prove the value of yourself as a performer in these games. And yeah, shout out to people like Alex Jordan, a bunch of others we talked to. Jen English was great to talk to.
Yeah.
I hope they all continue to find a place in this space because it's better for having them.
Also, I think it just legitimizes the art of voice acting, specifically in video games, even more. Grub, like,
Right.
a lot of people don't take certain voice actors or voice acting seriously at all because of the amount of work that you wind up doing, and people will just be like, "Oh, well, your IMDb is super huge. Like, what is the role?" Well, the problem with not the problem with voice acting, but the nature of it is that you do have to take on so much work. That sometimes you are just maybe a filler voice on top of being a notable voice in something.
Yep. Do you think when Mike met Jen English, he yelled Jen English?
Keep that man away from everyone.
Yep. Just put him in a confined room by himself. All right. Let's get into some Switch 2 stuff here. 8-Bit Do's flagship controllers are now compatible with the Switch 2. This was like happening steadily over the first week of the Switch 2's life. 8-Bit Do was adding some like beta firmware updates, and now it does seem to have finalized many of them. This comes from Ben Lyons at Game Reactor, but the quick thing here is the flagship models are now compatible with Switch 2 as long as you do firmware updates. That includes Ultimate 2 Bluetooth controller, Ultimate Bluetooth controller, Ultimate 2C Bluetooth controller, Ultimate C Bluetooth controller, Pro 2 Bluetooth gamepad, SN30 Pro Bluetooth gamepad, and the USB wireless adapter 2. There's also some talk about the USB wireless adapter more getting a compatibility update here pretty soon. I love those controllers, so I'm glad to hear this. I did hear that the Ultimates no longer turn on the Switch 2 if you shake them. So in the end, Dan Reichert, who never believed that worked, was right in the end, and I'm devastated by that. I hope they're able to figure that out, but I'm not hopeful. It seems like the kind of thing you'd have to specifically make the hardware to do and work with, and that there's no reason to assume they'd be able to like trick the Switch 2 into turning on. But oh well. Other Switch 2 stuff. Let's start with this one that I actually didn't list here. There's a battery percentage bug that is making the Switch 2's battery seem worse than it actually is. I think what happens, Jan, is it gets down to like 1%, and then it can run for like another hour. And it's like, and Nintendo has admitted that like, oh yeah, this is broken. We are going to try to fix this. So you can like check your battery percentage and be like, oh, this thing's about to die. Apparently it's not accurate. So they're going to fix that. And that's like, oh, okay. So in my mind right now, the Switch 2's battery life is pretty questionable. Maybe it's better than I was even realizing because I'm just seeing that thing drain faster than it should be.
Sure.
So maybe there's some silver lining there. Maybe there's some good news. Because as it stands right now, Jan, looking at that thing, I was like, oh, this battery life is a little bit worse than I was expecting.
Ooh, okay. It's just like your car when like the gas light goes on. You can still go for at least a good 10 miles.
Jan, I'm the kind of person who definitely has explored the horizons of when the gas tank is actually going to be empty.
Same. I maybe won't climb a hill, but I'll keep rolling along.
Have you ever actually ran out of gas? I've only done it once as a kid. I was like 16.
Very close, where I had to pull over and then just fill the truck I was driving with miscellaneous gas in the back.
Yeah, I was in my 1980 Chevrolet Malibu filled with my chucklefuck friends, and so I wasn't paying attention to the gas gauge at all. And I never looked at it for like a week straight.
We have a guest calling into the show.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Hey, what's up? Please,
hello.
Christ, God, please do not drive your car when there's no gas in it. If the light is on, it means that the fuel pump is sucking in air. It's going to kill your fuel pump. And then after it kills your fuel pump, it's going to fuck up the evap system, which is really expensive to fix. So please, God, put gas in your car before the light comes on. Thank you so much. I'll shut up and listen.
Thank you, Nikki Grayson, for your expertise in this field. I'm an old man now. Now I fill it up if it's like a quarter of a tank is left. So
all right. Well, now I feel bad for so many cars that I've driven, Grubb.
Like as a broke kid, I would be like, whatever. This thing can keep going for forever. Is that really the lights on? It means I'm breaking the car. Is it that simple? Like, I trust Nikki Grayson. I believe it. Either way, my car ran out of gas. My friend saw me and he had a gas tank. He was like the responsible one. He was also 16. And he's like, oh, there's my shithead friend. I got to go save him. All right. Other Switch 2 stuff. Splatoon 3's latest update is out now, boosting Switch 2 resolution and frame rate. I tried this out, Jan. Looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I also tried this out. People are really good at Splatoon now. They're so good at it. It's scary.
Yeah, it's like, I know that skill creep or power level creep, whatever the phrase is like really strong when the general population moves on from a game. But the little freaks out there that hang on to a game, and this becomes their whole life. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like I was going up against a team, and I was on a team of people that listen. I did the best on my team, highest score on my team, fifth highest score out of everyone playing because the other team just demolished us. So yeah.
How big is the team again? Four.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you, me, Mike, Dan, Andy, Snowbike, Mike, Blessing, Nick.
Let's go back at Splat, boys. Let's make it happen. All right, yeah, I'll challenge Andy. Let's see if we can make it happen. Mortal Kombat 1 is playable on Switch 2 despite like warnings about incompatibility, and it runs way better. Which, hey, big shocker. The Switch 1 was struggling with Mortal Kombat 1, so it better run better. But that's like some good sign there that like, even before they get in there and do the work to like fix whatever incompatibility issues that they are talking about, it's already a much better performing game. And then there is a report that Red Dead Redemption 2 may be heading to Switch 2, which that game came out in 2018, right? That feels like a game that even despite what it looks like, a gorgeous thing, it looks visually unmatched in a lot of ways, does feel like something that if a game came out in 2018, in my mind, it should just be able to run on Switch 2. And I'm sure it can, maybe at 30 frames per second, though.
As soon as a dev had said, like, yeah, it's kind of like a PS4 in your hands, I've just run away with that and not bothered to look up any other technical aspects, Grubb.
Yep, exactly. All right, let's get through these other things. Stellar Blade is off to a roaring start on PC. It had over 100,000 concurrent players, which is impressive for a game that came out on PS5 more than a year ago. Yeah, that just kind of ran. It just shows, there's a lot of, it had 147,000, so almost 150,000 concurrent players. That's more than The Last of Us Part 2 and God of War Ragnarok. So maybe PlayStation should get more into Gooner games. And then finally, Hershey teams up with Pokemon for new collectible chocolates. Jan, you gonna do it?
No. Grubb, we have talked too much about allowing children to partake in questionable things. Do not eat a silica packet. Do not eat silica gel. Also, eating a bunch of candy can be bad for children, not just because of your teeth. And it's fine if you got baby teeth, I guess. They're going to fall out. But
it's still dangerous.
It's still dangerous. Also, diabetes.
Yep. Just overall, but you don't have to eat them. You can apparently just collect them and put them in this giant case that shows you all the ones you can collect, and then you have to go actually buy a bunch of Pokemon Hershey's Kisses bags, and then they have the images on the bottom of the kiss, and then you put them upside down in these slots, and it looks like there's 150 slots there, maybe more, maybe less, I don't know. And you display them, I guess, and you just have a box of old Hershey Kisses in your house forever.
I love display chocolate, Grubb.
This is weird.
Does Hershey's know that they could have just put like a card in like the bag?
Right. You can just put a card in. Yeah. Get in the people love the cards. I don't know if you know this, Jan. People are into Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
They could have just put one of those in the bag.
Or perhaps maybe a Pokemon is printed within the Hershey's Kiss foil, and then you just collect those.
There you go. I tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to collect them. I'm going to get all 150. I'm going to keep them for 15 years, and then I'm going to feed them all to Danny O'Dwyer. I think that's the plan. So he can eat anything. Nothing can kill that man. All right, that does it for headlines. We have a poll question that I should bring up now from yesterday's show. There we go. Are you going to play Splitgate 2? I'm going to click no. Along with 90% of other respondents who said no, they are not going to play Splitgate 2. 10% said yes. The game seems to be doing all right. It had something like 3 million downloads or something like that. But the excitement does not feel like it's there. Splitgate 1 was one of those. Was it like one of those ones that popped up during the pandemic and people are like, hey, I wish Halo was good?
Yeah. And I feel like the bubble, I don't want to say burst, but the bubble dissipated very quick after that initial boom.
You're right. And then they've done no favors for themselves. At least, I'm sure there's some people like, yeah, God, I love that hat. Really, I can't imagine there's many people. And then he apologized, and I don't know. It's just a weird thing. But overall, like even put that stuff aside, I didn't have a lot of excitement for Splitgate 2, and it doesn't seem like many others do as well. We have a new poll question. Are you going to play Resident Evil Requiem in first or third person? I am curious about the results of this one. I do think people prefer third person, but God, shout out to all my other first person freaks out there. Like I like third person too. I'll play both perspectives in games, whatever. But I do feel like first person is a little underappreciated. And it's worked really well for Resident Evil so far. But that said, I'm glad you have the option for Requiem. I think that is the best way to go forward.
Yeah, I think I've maybe just growing up with like platformers.
Yes.
Always acclimated to third person, and like going to first is a little bit jarring sometimes. If they want to do both, where it occasionally switches to third person, I'm also okay with that.
It worked. It worked in Indiana Jones, actually.
Yeah.
That worked really well. In fact, man, I keep thinking about that game. I really, really ended up loving that game. People are asking like, what is going to be like the primary perspective in Capcom's eyes. They showed the trailer to us at Summer Game Fest in first person, and it does feel like the spooks of the game are designed for first person, I'll say. But
okay,
that means if you go in third person, it does seem inherently just slightly less scary.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's just like almost like an accessibility option for people like me who are a little bit cowardly. And it's like, if this gets a little scary, I can go in third person and try to like disconnect myself from the action a little bit. But I don't know. All right. Those are the poll questions. We got yesterday's. We have tomorrow's. Jan, let's talk about what's happening on giantbomb.com in a little bit. I'm going to get set up for a big Switch 2 stream. We're going to do our Switch 2. Let's just call it a quick look. Switch 2 quick look, where we're going to play hours and hours and hours worth of games. Me and Dan, at the very least, are going to be bouncing between several multiplayer games. That's some of the PR emails I was sending out to like help get some codes. I got a bunch of stuff downloaded on the Switch 2. We're going to make that happen here for the rest of the afternoon, pretty much. And that means we are bumping Voicemail Dump Truck to tomorrow.
Yes.
That's right. That's going to be on Friday. What time is that, Jan? Do we have that somewhere?
I have that as 12 p.m. Pacific time, so 3 p.m. your time.
Okay. And then we'll have a UPF around that, like between there.
Yep.
And Game S Mornings will be back tomorrow as well.
Yep.
We'll probably find some time for maybe some other stuff. I wanted to make Jeff Backlar sit in on an unfinished for baby steps with me, but we're busy. So we'll see if we can make some other stuff happen. At the very least, looking forward to this Switch 2 stream.
Yes.
Jan, anything else we should mention?
Yes, folks. If you have not yet watched Giant Bomb at night, I have readjusted and fixed the audio for night 1. All of night 1 is broken up into individual segments and is now up on the Giant Bomb YouTube. Night 2 should be slowly trickling out today after Game Mess Mornings, with the audio fixed and adjusted there as well. We're going to drop that on the Giant Bomb Presents feed as individual episodes as well, so you can listen at your leisure. A bunch of games are coming out, Grubb. I want to do a quick look for the altars, because apparently it's a Jan game. It might be a Jan game, but I'll still claim it.
Ooh. Yeah, you can take ownership of it. Reclaim the Jan.
We're also steadily working away to hopefully have the SGF travelogue up tomorrow morning, if not tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, we're gonna let Jan do some work on that this afternoon, everybody. Let's take your time, but yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, we're gonna make it happen. Grubb, I think your camera froze, but you're looking mad chill, so that's whatever.
Hell yeah,
dog.
That's bizarre. Okay, cool. I don't understand. That must be a Discord issue.
On top of that, some things popping off on the website as always. Stay tuned. And yeah, I don't know, giantbomb.com/join. Thanks everyone for watching all of our shenanigans during SGF. Oh, he's gone now. Oh no. What am I gonna do? I don't know how to end the show. Oh god, he's gone. Let's see. Speaking of Giant Bomb, here is what is... We just did that. Oh, shoot. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, love you. Goodbye. I'm going to end the show now instead of waiting for Grubb, because that's a proactive thing to do. 12 podcast points to everyone. We'll see you tomorrow for another episode of Game Mess Mornings. I'm not flailing. Here's the the video, but goodbye.
Yummy like a gummy bear.
Oh, also, I kind of want to do a pack opening stream for the Final Fantasy cards. If anyone would be interested in that, I might holler at the homies. All right, next time we'll see you. Goodbye.